In PyTest-Full-Stack, we can see our repo is here. If we click and open that, we come to PyTest-Full-Stack. You can download the zip or git clone it. If we go into the repo, starting from the top, just some images that I may use to display things or for the readmes. We have my VS Code settings that I'm just using for recording, but if you like them, you can use them. Config folder that holds a config.ini where we can store environment variables, URLs, any sort of constants and arguments we might need. We're going to be outputting our log messages to a file called pytesting.log, and that's set up in the pytest.ini. Down at the bottom here with the log file, it's going to the log folder, pytest.log. We set the level at debug, and we've got the time, the level name, whether it's debug, info, etc. The name of the logger, the message, the file name and line number, and the date timestamp. And if we have a look at the version here, I'm just going to load my screen. You can see that's the output there. So that is the log. We have a section for results that when we're outputting files, any reports. This is one example of a CSV output. It's kept here. I'm using .git keep so that if there's nothing in here when I do a git push, the results folder goes up. Otherwise it won't if it's fully empty. Any screenshots that we might save from Playwright. Any source code is in SRC. We have our tests, and as you can see, we won't go into them yet, but we have a whole range of different template tests. And in the root is the conf test file, and this is where all the hooks are used for command line arguments, for collecting tests, sorting them, all the different plugins that we're using, all the different options. And we also have for making reports, and if we scroll down, we can also see the test status. This is how we get these nice words and icons in our test reporting in the console, as well as outputs in the report header, the test call, the terminal reporter, where we display different sections. We'll go into this later, but this conftest.py file holds all of these, and I'll show you then how to kind of customize things. Like if you don't want the word passed, you might say passed with an exclamation mark. You might have a different icon. You might want it a different color or bold. We'll go into that later. And there's little utils for reading the configuration file up top here. Some file utilities, API utilities. We've got our virtual environment, our pytest.ini, the README for any information we might need for this full stack repo, and the requirements.txt for pip installation. So that is an overview of what's in the repo, and in the next sets of videos, we'll go through how to configure this to your own liking, and also how to use the template tests, either to learn or to create your own templates. And we also have a section on mocking, where we can mock out many different architectures, as it were, file system, database, etc. Some of these refer to works that other people have done, and I give them credit, and I go into a little bit more detail than their video if they don't have source code, etc. So that's the tour.